love
Yeah.
poem.
Okay.
Are you...
I'm done.
Or... Mahmoud Darwish. We haven't done any romance. I don't think at all. Right?
This one, and then the one that says like Haley something, the darker one. Not Haley, sorry. That one. That's poetry too. I mean romantic poetry.
Romantic. Okay, close your eyes and pick.
I know which ones were.
I was gonna move them. Close your eyes.
I'm just gonna
go.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, cool. Okay, hey BOGO Beans, welcome back. Oh, wait, no, intro music. And start.
Ooh, I'm sorry.
And start.
Hi, BOGO Beans. Welcome back to another episode of Chapters Chitchat, one of our two segments on our podcast.
My name is Roedah.
My name is Nour.
And she went off script. Welcome to Chapters and Chit-Chats again. This is your weekly excuse to overanalyze a single sentence, a line in a poem for 20 minutes with us. Every week we will read excerpts from books that make us spiral in a good way.
Whether it's poetic, unhinged, or just plain confusing, we're diving in with ratings, outrageous explanations, and the occasional existential crisis.
This isn't your English lit class. It's deeper, sometimes messier, but way more fun.
So grab your emotional support beverage. We are drinking I think it's mint tea. It has mint and some other.
Yeah, it smells grassy. Yeah, so I think it's like a mix.
Matcha. And let's crack open a chapter. This is Chapters and Chit-Chat. So today we have a poetry book, which I'm really excited for because you and I haven't discussed poetry at all.
No.
Ever.
And we both like it.
Yeah.
Okay, actually, I'm like more into poetic prose. I like actually have a hard time reading poetry sometimes. So yeah, let's get into it.
Like physically reading it or like dissecting it?
Just like thinking about it.
Okay. All right. This is Arabian Love Poems by Nizar Qabbani. So yeah, we're just going to flip through and pick a random page.
Okay. I'll tell you when.
Okay.
Stop.
Okay.
And there's Arabic in the pages too? Wait, can you show them?
Wait. Are you going to read it? The Arabic?
I can try.
This one? Oh, okay. Ainaki.
So your eyes.
Ainaki. Mamulu? No.
I just know that this
is... مثل الليلة الهاطرة. Is that a meme?
This one is I think this is a meme and that's a ha.
المطرة. Yeah, المطرة فرقني. What? مركني.
That's a ba.
مركبي غر. Why is your Arabic better than mine?
I studied classical Arabic. I didn't learn it growing up.
Okay. عيونك مثل ليل المطر.
Your eyes are like some sort of night.
Your eyes are like a rainy night.
So what's rainy?
مطري.
Okay, there you go. Okay.
مركبي غرقة في هما. My boats sink in them. كتابتي منسيات في هما. My writing disappears in their reflection. إن المرايا ملها ذاكرة. Mirrors have no memory.
Okay. There's no harakat. That's where we're struggling over here.
There
and
actually
it's handwritten.
Harakats.
Not all of it. And then it's handwritten. So it's not like Classic script. Okay, can I read it in English real quick?
Yeah.
Your eyes are like a rainy night. My boats sink in them. My writing disappears in their reflection. Mirrors have no memory.
Okay, that was cute.
Do you want to move to another one?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, let's keep it pushing. I hadn't told them about you, but they saw you bathing in my eyes. I hadn't told them about you, but they saw you in my written words. The perfume of love cannot be concealed.
That's actually so cute. It speaks to like, yeah, it's very sweet.
Oh, wait, you flip through it and I tell you when to stop.
Okay.
Stop.
Okay. Ready? I am not a teacher to show you how to love. Fish don't need a teacher to learn how to swim. Birds don't need a teacher to learn how to fly. Swim and fly by yourself. Love has no notebooks. The greatest lovers in history did not know how to read. Just follow your heart, man. That's what that's giving.
There's that one quote that's like, the bird doesn't trust the tree branch. It trusts its wings when it lands on the tree branch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
These are all love poems. Wow. These are all love poems is what I said. Sorry, I don't know if you could hear me.
Are you
ready for this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Go ahead.
When God bestowed women on men, he gave you to me. I felt he was clearly biased towards me, and that he had violated all his heavenly books. He gave me the wine and gave other men the wheat. He clothed me in silk, but clothed those men in cotton. He gave me the rose, and he gave them the thorn. It continues. After God introduced you to me, he returned home. I thought of writing him a letter on blue paper, enclosed in a blue envelope, washed with my tears, calling him my dear friend. I wanted to thank him because he chose you for me. I wrote him because I am told God only receives and responds to letters of love.
So it reflects how much love she has for God, which is given to her in her spouse or person.
I think it's a man writing.
Oh.
Yeah. But yeah.
Nizar?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. When I received my reward, I returned home carrying you in the palm of my hand like a magnolia flower. I kissed God's hand, and the moon and the stars, one by one. I had kissed the mountains and the valleys, the windmills and the clouds. I had kissed the islands drawn on maps. I had kissed your combs and your mirrors. I had kissed all the white doves that carry your wedding dress on their wings.
What? I feel like you have something to say. Let's hear it.
Okay, this is not... Is it shit?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm
Next.
uncomfortable because of shit.
Next one.
Okay.
I think the one you read before was Shirik too.
Let's pretend I didn't read any of this. Okay, ready?
Should we choose a different book? Could be.
Can you read this one? Okay. Why do you telephone, my lady? Why do you attack me in such a civilized way? If the time for compassion is over and the time of jasmine is over, then why do you use your voice to assassinate me again? I am a dead man, and the dead don't die twice. Your voice has nails, and my flesh is embroidered with stabs like a bloody sheet. Hang on, is there a progression of like...
Abuse?
Yes.
No.
It is not my intention to expose to the world your opportunist nature, to reveal that lasted 2 years. I came to thank you for the season of tears, for the long nights of pain, for the deceitful yellow papers, and... No, okay. Something happy, please. Something happy. Not every love story is doomed, and that one was.
Wait, I want to see the very last one.
Okay, yeah. Can you read the last one?
Do you have a fear of love ending badly? You seem kind of triggered.
Yeah, always, I think. Because, like, my parents didn't stay together. And then, like, people always say that people who were raised by, like, a single parent who didn't remarry successfully or whatever.
End up the same.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah. That's just like a generalized statistic. So like I don't believe in it, but like in my brain, I'm like I'm always gonna fight for this. All right.
I conquer the universe with words. I ravish the mother tongue, the syntax, the grammar, the verbs, and the nouns. I violate the virginity of things and form another language that conceals the secret of fire and the secret of water. I illuminate the coming age and stop the time in your eyes, erasing the line that separates this moment from the years. Thank you. Thank you, Qabbani. Don't.
No, I'm looking up Nizar Qabbani right now.
You're looking what?
Looking up that writer. Oh, I haven't heard that sound from my microwave. Okay, he's from Syria.
Oh, no.
He's a Syrian poet. He's considered to be Syria's national poet.
Not my people. Qabbani. Lish.
He had... he was first married to somebody named Zahra Aqbik and then Balqis al-Rawi.
Balqis. I like the name Balqis.
Me too. I have a friend named Balqis. Well, Balqisa. But he also spoke French and wrote many books. Arabian Love Poems was towards the end of his life in 1993. But he also wrote something called The Brunette Told Me, Love Does Not Stop at Red Dawns, I'm One Man and You Are a Woman, The Lover's Dictionary. So he was a romantic. He was also a lawyer and a diplomat and lived most of his life outside of the Middle East so he could express himself like freely. But yeah, interesting. I don't know any... I am a Cham poet.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's so cute.
I was going to say, I don't know any famous Cham poets, but there's not a lot of famous Cham people in general.
We should do an episode for your book.
Oh, hell no. I'm going to be like... I just told Bilal earlier today that I don't have a lot of moments where I feel like I cringe at myself because like I'm just kind of like living life. But then when somebody like reads my book, I'm like,
yeah.
Why is that there?
That was me when he played my TikTok video out loud.
I exist in the world.
Yeah.
Yes, I get it now.
But you should be proud. You should... I feel like cringe is fake. Like cringe is not a real thing. You're creating it in your head.
Okay.
So stop.
Okay.
Be proud. I'm proud.
Thank you. You're so sweet.
She's getting shy.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. What do you think?
You want to try our hand at another love poem book?
Yeah.
Okay. This one's Rumi.
The Love Poems of Rumi.
I think your screen's in the way.
The Love Poems of Rumi.
Mm-hmm. And Rumi is... Let me find some information on Rumi.
She's... Indian?
So Rumi is
it's a
poet.
man.
Yeah, that's why I said he. Jalaluddin Muhammad Rumi. He is a Hanafi. He's a faqih, a Hanafi faqih. So he studied jurisprudence, Islamic jurisprudence. He was a Maturidi theologian, which some people don't accept and some people do. He's also a Sufi mystic. He mostly wrote in Persian, but also knew Arabic, Greek, and Turkish, and used it in some of his verse. He was from Afghanistan and died in Turkey. Yeah, his name is Jalaluddin.
This whole time I thought he was an Indian woman. Sorry, Rumi.
He a Muslim dude. And he I know from my exposure, he always connected things back to God and his belief in the divine and the relationship he had with the divine and just kind of a well invested trust in it. It does take a lot of creative liberties, I feel like, in how you express what your belief looks like as a Muslim. So for some it's really palatable and for some it isn't, but some of his writing is really beautiful, and that's why we have this.
Pick a number.
13.
Oh,
is that the intro?
That's the intro.
Okay.
Pick another one.
57. I like prime number. Is it the end?
Wait. No.
Then
it's the very last one. Oh, no. Yeah, it's the end. It's the very last page. My inspiration for the love poems of Rumi was Birdsong, 53 short poems translated by Coleman. Wait, that's not a poem.
It's the translator's note.
Yeah.
Okay, 31.
Okay.
Girl, you didn't tell me how many pages were in this book.
Yeah.
I went
That
from
was my
beginning
bad.
to end.
Okay. Come to me. I'm your lover. Come to my side. I will open the gate to your love. Come settle with me. Let us be neighbors to the stars. You have been hiding so long, aimlessly drifting in the sea of my love. Even so, you have always been connected to me, concealed, revealed, in the known, in the unmanifest. I am life itself. You have been a prisoner of a little pond. I am the ocean in its turbulent flood. Come merge with me. Leave this world of ignorance. Be with me. I will open the gate to your love.
You want to know something funny? Most of his writings were about God, but then when they got translated by Western translators, they became love, modern day romantic love poems. So in my brain, the beginning, because a lot can get lost in translation.
Yeah.
Remember, a lot of nuance is lost when things carry over to the English language, especially. It's very, very interesting. I don't have the original text by any means, but there are some really great translations in this too.
That makes me upset.
Yeah, but it's a thing. That's why, when I read other translated literature, even modern works, contemporary works, but from other countries, and they get translated, I feel like something is lost, some sort of spark. It's got so much acclaim. Why am I not feeling it?
Yeah.
Something was lost for sure. And sometimes that's just a shortcoming with the language itself, like English, but it is a thing.
Maybe he's writing this from God's perspective, telling you to come to him, but the way it's read is he's asking.
This one is very clearly about God. Read this one. Or very clearly, I can relate it back to a religious standpoint.
This is defeated by love. The sky was lit by the splendor of the moon, so powerful. I fell to the ground. Your love has made me sure I am ready to forsake this worldly life and surrender to the magnificence of your being. Oh, I love that. The sky was lit by the splendor of the moon, so powerful I fell to the ground.
I want to find, he has one book called Fihi Ma Fihi. It is what it is. And it's a prose collection of his work. A lot, covering life and death and mystical life and whatnot. It's not something that necessarily I'd say I identify with, but it's something that I'm really interested in just reading the perspective of. But yeah, so there's an article from the New Yorker. That's what I was looking for just now. Sorry about that. But someone wrote an article in the New Yorker that is titled "The Erasure of Islam from the Poetry of Rumi." A couple of years ago, when Coldplay's Chris Martin was going through a divorce from the actress Gwyneth Paltrow and feeling down, a friend gave him a book to lift his spirits. It was a collection of poetry by Jalaluddin Rumi, the 13th century Persian poet, translated by Coleman Barks. It kind of changed my life, Martin said later in an interview. A track from Coldplay's most recent album features Barks reciting one of the poems, this being human is a guest house, every morning a new arrival, a new joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Rumi has helped the spiritual journeys of other celebrities, Madonna, Tilda Swinton, some of whom similarly incorporated his work into theirs. The translations by Barks are, in particular, widely shared on the internet, and they're the ones that line American bookstore shelves and are recited at weddings. Rumi is usually described as the best-selling poet in the U.S., and he's referred to as a mystic, a saint, a Sufi, an enlightened man. But people forget and tend to erase the fact that he was actually a lifelong scholar of Islamic sciences and the Quran, and he's even less frequently described as a Muslim, a believing Muslim, but he was actually a very devout Muslim.
The minute I heard my first love story, I started looking for you, not knowing how blind that was. In your light, I learned how to love, in your beauty, how to make poems. You dance inside my chest, where no one sees you, but sometimes I do, and that sight becomes this art. Is this common?
I find the right place to cut it, but I think so.
Yeah.
This is a lesson in how non-American and or non-English, non-traditional literature, whether poetry, novels, short stories, when translated, are also adapted to fit the tastes and the palates of their audience. Like, translation is not one-to-one, is what I'm learning.
Is that ethical? This poses a question.
No, look, okay, so the article that I was referencing earlier, there are people who really studied Rumi's life, and then one of the professors involved said, I see a type of spiritual colonialism at work here, bypassing, erasing, and occupying a spiritual landscape that has been lived and breathed and internalized by Muslims from Bosnia and Istanbul to Konya, Iran, Central and South Asia. Extracting the spiritual from the religious context has deep reverberations. Islam is regularly diagnosed as a cancer by plenty of politicians today. And even today, policymakers suggest that non-Western and non-white groups have not contributed enough to civilization. For his part, Barks, the primary translator on a lot of the more commonly sold editions of Rumi's work, said that he sees religion as secondary to the essence of Rumi. And quote, he says, religion is such a point of contention for the world. I got my truth and you got your truth, and this is just absurd. We're all in this together, and I'm trying to open my heart, and Rumi's poetry helps with that.
But I don't...
So it feels like his philosophy is coloring the translation of Rumi's poetry.
Shouldn't Rumi's philosophy color the translation of Rumi's poetry?
Exactly. That's why I'm saying, like, it's not one-to-one. In my opinion, it's not necessarily ethical unless it's just, like, because of a lack of words that the translation alters a little bit, because we don't have the right words to, like, make it exact. But when the entire, like, messaging starts to shift a little bit, or when the entire persona of the author starts to shift a little bit, when you forget certain details about them that were actually, like, vital to their identity, I'd say that's not really ethical.
And then the translator most likely profited off of it too.
Yeah, because then it became palatable to everyone.
Yeah.
It's not just for those who believe in God, whether Muslim or not. It's for anyone who has a heart, who has felt love or heartbreak or obsession, even just anything that tantalizes those lines of, like, romantic endeavor. One of Barks' most popular renditions of, and again, listen to these words, Barks' rendition of Rumi's writing goes like this, quote, out beyond ideas of right doing and wrong doing, there is a field, and I'll meet you there. The original version makes no mention of right doing or wrongdoing. The words Rumi wrote there were iman and kufr. So beyond the ideas of iman and kufr, I will meet you there. You referring to God in that writing.
Wow.
Rumi's works reflected a broader push and pull between religious spirituality and institutionalized faith, though with a wit that was unmatched.
He wrote over 70,000 verses.
Language isn't just a means of communication, it's a reservoir of memory, tradition, and heritage. And as a conduit between two cultures, translators take on an inherently political project. They should figure out how to make, for instance, a 13th century Persian poet comprehensible to a contemporary American audience, but they still have a responsibility to maintain true to the original work, an act that, in the case of Rumi, would help readers to recognize that a professor of Sharia could also write some of the world's most widely read love poetry. And, like, it just humanizes a person to be able to actually translate accurately and represent their writing for what it really is, than to make them palatable and then, like, I don't know, wash away details. This turned out to be really interesting. I thought we were going to react to some, like, love stuff and be like, hey, this is how this made me feel.
I'm not feeling a lot of love right now, to be honest.
Yeah. It's an interesting world out here, huh?
Mm-hmm.
It is interesting to hear it as, like, poetic colonialism, was it, or something?
This
really real.
I took a mindfulness and meditation class, and this, like, almost identically mirrors what happened to, or what has happened to, the Buddhist tradition of meditation. Like, some random white guy decided to colonialize an ancient practice that's been around for forever and made it more palatable for white people because
erasing all the spiritual factors, erasing any sense of faith or actual lifestyle or culture.
Makes it feel like it's more approachable.
So that's why, like, it's such a weird conversation to have when we live in such a global world where people have access to everything. But that access is not one-to-one, as we said. Everything gets lost in translation.
Do you think it's of the reader's duty to understand where, in this case, the poetry came from and like the heritage of it, or are they to just accept what's been given to them, the altered work?
What is the word? You know, okay, hang on, let me find this word. Okay, you know the concept of like individual obligation versus communal obligation, like fard kifaya and when that's what that makes me think of. The person who translated it, it was their primary responsibility. Anyone thereafter who has read it may only have access to that one piece. And if it didn't spark or resonate with them, they may have no reason to like let it linger.
Right.
Not everyone researches the authors that they, go into. However, if this is like a big part of your identity, of your personal culture or whatever, I think that you should have enough curiosity to want to learn about it, right? So, I don't know. It's a really interesting question. Because I can't put it upon everyone to have to do it. That's also difficult. Like, every time I think about this, I always think about how inadequate the English language is. Because, like, in Arabic, there's, like, 12 different words for love. And they all mean different types of love. Whereas the English have love.
Does English have a synonym for love?
Let's look it up. Why there's no single official synonym. English packages all types of love, from romantic to familial to self-love, into one. Unlike languages like Greek, where eros, philia, storge, agape, philautia exist, it doesn't differentiate via separate terms. Thus, what counts as the best synonym depends on content, tone, and nuance.
Oh, yeah,
Are you romantic?
What do you think?
I don't know.
I feel like you cringe at romance.
I do. I wasn't raised in a house that had a lot of it. So, like, I don't know what to do with it when it's in front of me. I'm like, ah!
But I feel like you either become opposite ends of the...
Like, you either throw yourself and you, like, really, like you love romance. I feel my feelings. I have strong feelings.
But I was like, I am a human being.
I love in all many dimensions. I have a question for you. Is it better to love than to be loved?
Personally, I like to be loved because I have been on the side where I love and the other side is more fun.
The other side what?
The other side is more fun, to be loved.
In any context, huh?
Yeah.
Not just romantically, but like...
Literally. Oh, yeah. No, I'm not talking about romantically. Romantically, I don't know. Never seen that. But I'm talking about like friendships, family...
Like, you're pretty selfless, I feel like.
Like, I do like to love.
Yeah, no, I know. That's what I'm saying. You are very loving.
But I think it's really painful to love. Like, it's more gratifying, but more painful to love and not receive love. Or the same amount of... Not even the same amount of love, just to not receive love. And that's why I would take the opposite. And I desire to be loved because I don't want to deal with the pain. What about you?
It's easier to love than to be loved.
Really? Yeah.
It makes sense. It checks out, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's easier to give than to receive for me, but I'm not sure why. Maybe I'm dealing with like some internal am I worth it thoughts, but that's a whole nother conversation.
You are worth it.
Oh, I know in theory, but in practice, I'm very like, in theory, I got it all down, locked in, everything checks out. In practice, we've got some work to do. I guess that's all for today, folks. We'll keep thinking about love.
Oh, girl, I'm sorry.
We will revisit you with more love. What? Are you okay?
Thank you, BOGO Beans, for tuning in. See you next time.